I should have set myself up with water before I started. I didn't. Let me get back to Zoom and the chart. All right. Hey, everybody. I decided to do a live video kind of quickly before my kids get home from school. I've been doing readings all day, which is really fun. It's really cool. Maybe you can see me. Hope you can. Okay. And I'm really grateful for that. So I thought, you know, I have to get on and share a little bit about what the full moon means. I mean, from my point of view, from what I've learned of astrology, which I still have more to learn. Everyone always does. And I hope that this actually helps you learn. I think that's a really good way to learn to do it yourself, is to watch these astrology videos. So we're looking at the chart for 6:11 a.m. This is Birmingham, Alabama. I wonder how many astrologers go live from Alabama. I don't know. But I think it's fun. So my accent and everything's here talking about astrology. Anyway, I had to do that. 6:11 a.m. we've got the sun at 29 degrees of Aries and the moon at 29 degrees of Libra. Full moons are always letting go of something. I also happen to think that it's revealing. I mean, if you think about the function of the sun's light onto the moon, it's revealing something about your emotions. They also call it a culminating time. It's when, you know, you're supposed to reap what you sow a little bit, if you will. That kind of sounds dark, that phrase. But I mean, imagine what you sow is flowers. So you're reaping the benefits of that as well. So, and if you sow, you know, not so good things, you'll reap the benefits of that, or the not benefits of that. So there's some interesting stuff going on with this full moon astrologically, and astrology is just a mirror. I don't think necessarily the planets do anything to you, but it's like what a calendar does to you. You know, you can kind of, it mirrors reality a bit. So we're going to talk about the planets in terms of archetypes and what stories are associated with them, so that we can listen to the stories and decide what part of our consciousness it relates to. So this full moon is about identity in a big way, and also and how we relate to others in our life. Libra is always a relationship sign, so you're going to have a lot of feelings around relationship, and that could be relationships of lots of different types. So, you know, it usually means romantic relationship, but it can be relationship with anybody, anything, depending on where it is in your personal chart. So it's likely that some emotions around relationship will be on deck, if you will. And it's really cool because we have an asteroid, the asteroid Juno, trine to the moon. So this is more relationship stuff, right? And Juno is the asteroid that represents commitment, but also it shows when things are out of balance. And that word balance is also associated with Libra. So we have the balancing Libra full moon in connection with Juno, and they're talking to each other. A trine just means that it's easy flowing. So Juno's in Gemini. Gemini is how we communicate. So there could be talks around relationship, but I want to introduce another concept because Venus is in Pisces. And I don't believe Venus is connected with this full moon at all. It may be quincunx. That looks like it is. But I want to talk about it for another reason, and that's because, especially in Pisces, Pisces rules unconditional love. And I read Jeffrey Wolf Green. He is sort of the father of evolutionary astrology, which is the type of astrology I do, or that I've studied the most. Let me put it that way. I do other things, but I've studied this the most. And there's a lot of idea around Pisces being unconditional love. There's a term, I believe it's a Greek term, and I hope I'm right, but it's agape love. And that just means there's no condition to this love. So Venus is in Pisces, but it's almost like the full moon can't see her right now. So the full moon in Libra is weighing the conditions of love right now. Libra is a very conditional love. It's not often, I mean, conditional love can turn into unconditional love, but usually, especially with romantic relationships, all of those things are conditional. You know, whether we know it or not, we have conditions. We need things. We need things to be fair. We need things to be balanced. This is how you relate to people. And that's likely to be what you're weighing right now, especially because we have the Pluto-Saturn South Node in Capricorn going on, which is our structures. So Pluto is in a square to the moon at this full moon time. And Pluto throws a wrench in all of this, seemingly like looking at your relationships, looking at how you love, and values. I will say that too. Libra rules values as well. Maybe not so much as Taurus, but we also have Uranus and Taurus. So values are on deck too, like how we value these things. Well, Pluto being square to the moon is, especially in Capricorn, especially with Saturn there, it's like structures in our life are undergoing some changes, our foundations. And when that happens, your relationships have to shift as well. For instance, if you've always been a doctor and you decide you want to go be a mechanic because it's more fulfilling, and you know you can't kill anyone being a mechanic or whatever. I mean, yeah, you can probably, but but if you decide to do that, it's likely that your relationships are going to change, and also your values. So you see how this works? It's just divisions of consciousness. It's like, you know, this area of your life and how it works with this other area of your life. Another player in that is the North Node being in Cancer, which is taking care of yourself, self-nurturing, also how you nurture others, getting into your emotions, into this water element. So, and with Mars and Gemini, it could be a bit of a frantic full moon. There's another thing going on that's also not really connected to the moon, but it's there in the chart, and that's the Mercury Chiron coming into conjunction. Mercury is the way we think and our minds and the way we do things daily, how we communicate. And in Aries, that's going to be, you know, passionate. You could say passionate. It could be angry flares. It's definitely forward moving. It's a cardinal sign, and fire. Chiron is wounding, or how we can heal our wounds, how we heal the world. So to have those two things coming together in Aries, especially after Uranus was there for 7 years, shaking stuff up around our identities, it's likely that we're thinking about healing. And when you're thinking about stepping into who you are, this Aries stuff, stepping into this life that you've dreamed of and you've thought of and you've worked on, and things got turned upside down over the last 7 years. And now you're ready for it to be, it's integrated. It's a part of your life. That's what we're doing. And that's another thing that could kind of shake things up. You know, if you're doing all this self-work or changing yourself, or even just accepting yourself more, that can affect our relationships. So expect this full moon to, it could be a really nice time, really. You could be letting go of conditions that you have on relationships, you know, because Libra is this conditional sort of idea of love. And, you know, Pluto and Capricorn, you might have to, in order to move forward with this new structure in your life, decide things are okay in this way. You know, and maybe before this annoyed you, or maybe before this made you angry, you didn't trust here. And now you can decide to be okay with it. or you decide to move on, you know? It's that kind of thing. Oh, is there anything else? No, I'm just happy that Mercury is in Aries. Venus will be there soon. Pisces energy is really wonderful and spiritual, and it's great for connecting with intuition and the dream world and all of that. But, you know, there is such thing as too much of a good thing. And Jupiter and Sag, we're dealing a lot of, and Jupiter's retrograde now. We're dealing a lot with beliefs and faith. And I just feel like everyone's being triggered in every way that they can be, you know, like our beliefs around things and what is our personal truth and who am I and what do I value? And, you know, like, what is this relationship for me? Is it right? You know, it's a lot of energy. Am I taking care of myself? You know, and you can't do it all. So rest up during this full moon, you know, don't go get in like a fight or anything, you know, take time for yourself. I think that's important to recharge your batteries. This is the second full moon in Libra. So we've had a lot of, I hear a lot of people talking about relationship right now. A lot of clients just, you know, that's a big deal. And sometimes it's not. So this isn't like, oh, you know, it's always a big deal. I mean, it is the balance of it, but, you know, a lot of times that's peaceful, you know, and so this might be, it could go either way. It could be less peaceful or more peaceful, just depending on you. You know, this depends on free will. There is no ultimate. There are many, many paths, many choose your adventure stories. You know, you're turning pages, you're deciding to turn to page 222, or you're deciding to turn to page 23, you know? So all of this really has a lot to do with what you decide, you know? And what you think the path you want to take, you know, like the story you want to live. Yeah, I think that's probably all I want to say about this. I feel like I've been very serious though during this full moon. I feel kind of serious right now. I also feel goofy, but like I feel like it's, you know, Saturn and Pluto both have a lot to do with work, and the South Node has a lot to do with karma. And so it's like, and structure and boundaries and rules, and it's a lot of actual physical work, a lot of actual physical breaking down, you know, earth. It's an earth sign, you know, it kind of deals with the bones, you know. So this is like we're creaking and you know, the houses, you can hear it creaking a little bit, you know, in the wind. So that's kind of what's been going on, you know. Capricorn's a winter sign, so it could make us a little bit cold in our decisions as well. It, you know, so maybe the Libra moon's nice for that, you know. But Pluto is compulsive. It wants to climb the mountain in Capricorn, you know. It wants to change the power structures. Whoa. You know, especially if you're talking about marriage, you know, that's like friction. But if you're talking about just business partnerships, or if you're talking about the way you've related to your family, anything like that, our structures are being transformed. That's exact in January 2020, and it's building up until then. So it's active now. Coming up though, in 2 days, I want to just say this before I sign off, or before my kids come running through the door. It's 3:33. I think they get here in 10 minutes. So April 22nd, we've got the Sun conjunct Uranus. What is that? You know, Uranus is lightning. Uranus is the thing you never expected. Uranus is innovation, new ideas. It is electricity. It is upheaval. It is revolution. I don't know if I said that already, but that's what it is. So that's the idea of Uranus. The sun is our overall identities. And when you're talking for the collective, which I'm talking for the collective right now, you can look it up where it happens in your chart, so you'll know a little bit more of the energy that's happening. But the sun is the fire, is our star. It is the thing that energizes us, you know? So to have that come together with the planet of lightning, you can only imagine what the electricity might be like, what the upheavals might be like, what the unexpected things could be, you know, like shining the brightest light onto the most electric revolutionary thing you can, you know, it's like giving it energy. And it's in Taurus. Taurus is a lot of astrologers, or Taurus is finances. Absolutely. Taurus is what you value as well. And I think that's the deeper idea of Taurus, is what you value, because mostly as a culture, especially in America, we value the mighty dollar. You know, that's what we value, and what we can get for our dollar, and how many dollars we have, you know, and where will our dollars take us in the future if we hoard them, you know. But you can change your ideas around what you value, you know. Maybe it's time to start valuing some blockchain technology, you know, decentralizing banks. Maybe that's what the idea is. You know, the last time Uranus was in Taurus was, I believe, very near the Great Depression, if I'm not mistaken. I'll go look that up and put it in the comments and tell you guys exactly the last time Uranus was in Taurus. But so values, definitely. You know, you may decide to value something new in your life, or do away with some values that you had. And on a bigger scale, you know, be interesting to just watch the way things go on Monday, April 22nd. And then, you know, after that, we'll have the new moon in Taurus, May 4th, and I'll do a video on that. And then after that, we'll have Venus conjunct Uranus. And that'll be interesting as well, because Venus also rules our values, and she'll be in her sign. So I'm watching a couple of dates, you know. And what else does Taurus rule? Just for the, you know, to be complete here. Taurus also rules the earth. So you could be talking about physical upheavals, solar flares, earthquakes. I don't want to scare anyone, but I mean, you know, watch, see. It doesn't mean it'll happen to you, but watch on this grand scale that we can now watch on. We can, you know, dial up our computers and look at what's going on in India, you know, and some of us will care and some of us won't. But you can watch, you know, pay attention. That's all I'm saying. Taurus also rules your physical body and comfort. So you may feel uncomfortable on Monday. Mondays are usually uncomfortable for most people. Maybe this is the day you decide you're tired of being uncomfortable on Mondays, you know. Saturn, Pluto, change of careers, change of structures. That's what we're dealing with. It's going to be an interesting summer. Mm-hmm. Jupiter retrograde is done in August, but not even. I need to look at when the rest of the planets go retrograde. I may go live again before the new moon. I don't usually enjoy doing this. I'm enjoying it today. I think that's because Mercury's out of Pisces. I was so done with that. Oh my God. It was terrible. Oh, I don't usually judge things, but that harshly, you know. I like to be like, well, I'm a positive astrologer, but Mercury retrograde in Pisces was like not fun. And it's out of shadow. It went out of shadow. Let's see, it went out of shadow the 17th, I believe. Yep. That was just yesterday. So you may feel some relief, at least in your mind, but now your mind wants to move forward, you know? So we got some forward energy this new moon, full moon. All right. I think I'm done. Before I get done, I'm going to look up the Sabian symbol. for Libra, 29. Oh, actually, let's see. Where is the one I usually go to? All right, let's see. Let's look this up real quick. Google Chrome. All right. So the Sabian symbols are a man named Dane Rudyard channeled basically a word picture meaning for every degree of the zodiac. And I find that a lot of times they really do a good job in explaining what's happening with this specific degree. Just for fun, let me tell you about the degree that Venus was at. Where is it? Whenever she was in Pisces, whenever the Notre Dame caught fire. That was probably a terrible way to say it. But it was really, really interesting. So I'm going to have to look and show you that so that you can get what I'm saying. Oh, here it is. It was 25. Yeah, 25 degrees. So the Sabian symbol for Venus was in Pisces. Pisces is related to very closely to Jesus, Christ consciousness. That's why I'm looking at you, Catholic Church, right? So Venus was at the 24th degree. Always read for the next degree, Pisces. And the word symbol, this man channeled, is a religious organization succeeds in overcoming the corrupting influence of perverted practices and materialized ideals. Purification. And the symbolism there was not lost on me. This says the necessary centralization of the conscious attention and will symbolized by the preceding picture most often brings negative results: exclusivism, pride, jealousy, greed for power and wealth. Every man is a church that has the soul as its God, but most men forget the soul and live according to the dogmatic rules and habits, which not only have become empty of inner meaning, but very often have been perverted by the demands of the senses and the emotional nature and by the ego with which it's rationalizing intellect. A purging or catharsis is needed to restore not only fresh and creative spontaneity, but even more the contact with the soul and the God-ordained Dharma. I mean, so that's an example of what the Sabian symbols can show you, shed light on. And so let me go back to the Sabian symbol for this Libran full moon. I'm going to look at where the moon will be. Not Leo, Libra. Libra. All right. And I'll also post a link to this webpage because it's the most it just shows what he said. So this is 3 mounds of knowledge on a philosopher's head. A true philosopher is a man who is able to understand, not merely know, the process of life as he comes to experience them directly. He is a man of wisdom, different indeed from the man of science. For a while, there must be knowledge before understanding. Knowledge alone can be both barren and destructive of wisdom. This particular symbol refers, of course, to phrenology, which is usually considered a pseudoscience, but may provide significant indications. Number 3 always indicates a state of completion. The symbol implies fulfillment of philosophical understanding, which obviously has nothing to do with academic degrees or the writing of successful treatises on abstract concepts. So cultural factors are always involved. Understanding and wisdom develop in terms of the life of community and through experiences provided by interpersonal and group relationships. Here we go. What is at stake here is a holistic approach to knowledge. The keynote is the fulfillment of man's power of understanding at whatever level of existence the person operates. And to me, I can understand this because the fulfillment of man's power of understanding at whatever level of existence the person operates. And you can really relate this back to the conditional love, At what condition is the person you are looking at, or the business you are looking at, or the business partner you're looking at, what condition are they at? What level of existence are they operating on? This isn't a way of judging. This is a way of understanding, a holistic approach to knowledge. So I would say that makes something you can do on this full moon is reach for tools. If you need help understanding what to do in a situation with a relationship, any kind of relationship, there is so much in the way of tools that you can put in your tool belt that a lot of people just don't even think about or use. A lot of times that could just be bouncing your ideas off someone. And a lot of times that could be, going to get an astrology reading, which I'm available next week. Going to see a Reiki person, going to get a massage. It's just tools, meditation, thinking, getting maybe out of your head into your spirit. Maybe you're too much in your spirit and you need to think about stuff a little bit. So a holistic approach to what if you need to know more about what this situation is calling for in your life, there are tools. And if you need some, ask me. I've got tons of people I know that do all kinds of stuff. They lead you through chakra cleansing. They lead you through, go see a therapist, mundane, normal stuff. Anything that you can do, tools are important. So I'm so glad I read that Sabian symbol, because it really adds, it's a tool, All right. That's a very Saturnian thing. I'm done. My kids just walked in and I think they were fighting. Go figure, it's a Libra full moon, they're sisters. So I better go tend to that. All right. You guys have a great day. Thank you so much. See you soon.